Good afternoon, everybody. What's up, AW here? Or oh yeah, you already know that. If you're watching this live, you already know it's AW Aaron War. How are you doing on this on the Sunday afternoon? I hope it's all good. January 5th, 2025, eve of the Golden Global Awards, which I'm not gonna watch. I'm not gonna watch the awards show. I don't care for it. I'll just watch sports tonight. That's all I'm gonna do. Watch sports tonight. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. All right. So yeah, it started about 4 minutes early. You know, so there's some early, so there's some late. I'm usually on time, but the one thing I guarantee, I'm usually on time. Usually on time. If I'm late, it's because I'm busy. If I'm early, it's because you know what? I I have nothing else to do. Today we're gonna invite my friend Blinded on. Blinded is gonna be on today. Yeah. Whenever he's able to come, I already sent an invitation. This is Blinded. This is so Blinded. About I don't know during the summer. I don't during the summer Blinded came up with a list for Marvel characters to appear in the MCU that never appeared in the MCU at all. Like any characters he had to do a list of characters, villains, heroes, and teams that never appeared in the MCU at all, and we did that back in the summer. Now I told Blinded about maybe two a month ago, two weeks or a month ago about yeah we're gonna do this during the Christmas holiday, the holiday which is about to end basically, right? It's gonna end. I forgot about it until like this week. This week, I'm like, well, shit. I'm like, oh my god, I forgot about it. I had to remind Blinded who already had the list ready. Blinded had the list ready. I just the one who forgot about it. So luckily, I caught it in time. Got this, got this in time. Luckily, I was able to get this in time. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. And whenever Blinded comes on, this list. Do me a favor. Make sure to like, share, subscribe down below. Do all that shit. Get your comments in. I'm gonna call you Red forever. Okay, forever and ever and ever. That's your name. That's your name. All right. So waiting for Blinded. Let's see who else comes in. I mean, in the chat, like Degrassi, maybe. Maybe it's just Sideways. There's Sideways. So I mentioned Sideways, he appears. Say his name and he appears, right? Yeah. Oh yes, 8 people. All right, man. All right, 8 people watching. Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah. All right. I hope you're all good. Oh yeah, we're waiting for Blinded. So yeah, so what we're planning to do, Blinded, we're gonna trim out. We're gonna trim out once we're done with the stream. Once we're done the stream, over the next few days, I'm gonna trim out segments from this stream. We're gonna trim out the characters he wants from the hero side and the villain side of the teams. And here he comes. Here's the star. It's gonna be the star of the stream, not me. Here's the guy. Blinded Braille is here. How are you doing, Blinded?
What's up?
I'm good. I'm good. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I do have something coming, so I might have to um be on mute for a little bit because yeah, I'm kind of hungry.
Okay, so let's get this right away. What do you have it on PowerPoint? This the same thing you did
I
yesterday?
don't have it. I don't have it on PowerPoint. No, I just created a list. I
Oh,
didn't really have. No, I didn't really have the time to do a PowerPoint.
so what is it, like five each?
No, I didn't. Here's the thing, right? This one, this list is more just like stuff I want to see because, unlike Marvel, I mean DC,
Yeah, Marvel is
there's not like a ton of obscure characters that I feel like need to be in the DCU to begin with because they're only getting started. They're only getting started. So
okay. Marvel
I'm
has a
not.
Marvel has a lot of characters you already seen, so I get you.
Yeah, yeah. Marvel has a lot of characters, and so that there's a sort of like remaining characters, and also to I've said this before. I'm not that big into DC compared to Marvel. I like DC, but if I had a preference, it would probably be for Marvel. I read more Marvel than I do DC.
Yeah, you went
Um,
to the comic books yesterday, right?
yeah, I went to the comic book store yesterday, and ironically, I picked up more DC comics than Marvel. But yeah, just because like I wanted to read the Absolute series. But yeah, um, so yeah, I do have some. I mean, most of this list is obscure characters. Like these are characters that
Yeah,
I've seen or read, and I thought they were kind of interesting.
I'm just saying they have
Um,
big A-list actors. Jason Momoa is not an A-list actor.
you think is going to pay A-list actors? I mean, they probably will.
Yeah,
I mean, they were going to get Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin is an A-list actor. Like
yeah,
he's been in a ton of stuff over the years, which is ironic because there's a character that Josh Brolin played on this list that I would like to see.
okay. Let's get to your list then. Start off.
All right. Or actually, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second because the list is on my phone.
You didn't retire. From
I heard
what?
that little birdie that blinded retired.
From
No,
what?
I just haven't streamed.
Oh, this
I haven't streamed.
there's no such thing as retiring on YouTube. Okay, you just don't do it here. This is why, right? Unless you have a contract with them, which I don't.
Okay, I have a ton of random different characters, so um, there is one character that I really want to see, and I'll explain why, and I'll leave that character for last. So, okay, this one, it's kind of weird because from what we know, um, we are getting one character from this group, but I don't know if James Gunn has any plans for this group, and that is the I can't even say it. Oh my God, the Syndicate of Crime.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, because obviously in the trailer you could see Superman is fighting someone that is all in black. We've seen the set photos. It says Ultraman on there. Ultraman is one of the members of the Syndicate of Crime. So,
um,
which is basically just an evil version of a Justice League in another Earth.
you,
Um,
you, Earth 3, is it?
I think so. It's Earth 3, yes.
Yeah.
And with the New 52, it was like changed around. But I always liked the idea. Yeah, the crime syndicate or syndicate of crime, whatever which way you want to put it.
It's a crime syndicate.
Um, yeah, because I think originally it's called the syndicate of crime. But regardless, yeah, mess up the name. My apologies. But regardless, I kind of like this team because they're just evil versions of the Justice League. They had that animated show. By the way, there's some static going on.
Oh,
I might actually, you know what? Could you guys give me a second so then I can switch and then I can actually just pull up these characters on Google so then you guys can see what I'm talking about because there's some characters that are like I'm pretty sure some people won't know. There's a character on here I put because of Sideways, by the way. So shout out to Sideways. Give me 1 second. I'll come back. It's gonna be a little bit.
Well, there was kind of a version of Crime Syndicate in the anime series, but it was not the Crime Syndicate. It was the Justice Lords. Actually, it was the Justice Lords, and that I remember that. A different universe, Justice Lords, where they became fascists. Justice League in that universe became fascists after the death of the Flash. Luther killed the Flash. Superman killed Luther, and then became fascist dictators and Justice Lords. But there was a the Crime Syndicate is I think it's Earth 3. It's with Ultraman, Superwoman, right? It's supposed to be the evil version of Wonder Woman. Thomas Wayne as Owlman. You got Johnny Quick. Is that his name? Johnny Quick, the Flash version. Well, the Green Lantern guy, the evil version of Green Lantern. Power Ring, I think is his name. Yeah, that's from E3. I did watch. I did watch a video on why Owlman is better evil Batman than Batman. Who laughed? Okay. He's back.
Okay, I'm back now. Yeah. Okay. So you could pull up my share screen. Give me 1 second. Wow. Hold on. Wow. Later.
Okay, here we go. All right.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't really want them to be like major characters, but I do think it's kind of weird. We never really got any sort of like evil teams. Like the MCU never did evil teams. We never got Squadron Supreme in the MCU, which kind of always upset me. So I don't know if they'll ever do that, considering it's a multiverse version. But I also don't know if James Gunn really wants to even do this team. I kind of feel like introducing Ultraman implies that he's not going to do this, which I think is a shame because, again, it's the evil Justice
I
League. I
think
mean,
the only thing that's gonna be Ultraman related to Superman, it's gonna just be look like it's just gonna look like Clark Kent or Kal-El. It's the same guy underneath the
well,
suit.
he's gonna be a clone, right?
Yeah, basically
And,
that's it. And maybe
and yeah, so
tomorrow, like in the episode
yeah,
the animated series. Basically, yeah, that's all he's doing. They're gonna call it Project
yeah,
Ultra.
but then but then you can't do this version. I feel like because then it's like, well,
Yeah,
how do you explain that he's a
I
from another Earth, but he's also called Ultraman? So I'm not really like again, we haven't seen the movie, but I
think
just
James
kind of
Gunn.
feel like
I
it's a
think
bit
it's
of a
just I
waste.
think James Gunn's not planning any multiverse stuff.
Yeah, he's not planning any multiverse stuff, but I also feel like that's a little bit weird because DC's like mostly entrenched in the multiverse.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
mean, like the Crime Syndicate, yeah, they've been like around since the 50s.
You see how Marvel's fucking up the multiverse stuff is very difficult to do. It's a hard concept to do.
Yeah, I, but I think DC, like with all the different Earths, I don't know if they. I mean, here's the thing, right? Because in the New 52, some characters from were from a different Earth
Yeah,
that were like, for example, Supergirl came to the New 52 Earth, and I think it's Earth 1. I don't even remember, but she was pretending to be Power Girl. So I don't see James Gunn doing that. I think that's just confusing and all that stuff. But I do think they probably should introduce the idea of different Earths since that's just a core part of DC. Marvel really doesn't do that. I mean, they kind of do, but when you look at their numbers or listings for different universe in the Marvel universe, it is very confusing. And also the MCU just made it even more confusing. But yeah, I think it would be pretty cool to see these characters. I guess and the same. token, I do want to see like the Injustice League, right, with all the main villains of the Justice League teaming up. Again, I don't understand why we haven't gotten like a team of villains
I
in
want
both
Marvel.
DC and Marvel live action. I just think it's kind of weird.
I want Marvel to do a team up with villains.
Yeah, where's the Masters of Evil again? Like really weird that we haven't gotten any of that stuff. It's just sort
Well,
of like
it's
ignored.
end up one 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 timers.
Yeah.
Like the
So
rest.
I'm gonna stop sharing here.
Okay.
Um, and then I'll move on to my next character. I got it since I'm on the laptop. I can use my phone. Okay, so this character is a very obscure character, and the only reason why I know about this character is, I mean, if you're like a 2000s kid, you probably know Ben 10. I love Ben 10, and to be honest, I think Ben 10 should be in the DC universe because he is owned by Warner Brothers. But this is the character that was inspired by Ben 10, or Ben 10 got some inspiration from, and that is Dial H for Hero. Um, so I'll share this screen so you could see the character. Very, very obscure character. I don't even know when I guess this was his last sort of comic that he had, because that's like pretty new. That might look like, I don't know, 2018, 19, I can't tell. But his whole powers is that he can dial um, you know, a hero, and then he can sort of transform into them, which is again that's similar to Ben 10. If you know what Ben 10 is, anybody in the chat knows what Ben 10 is. It's the exact same premise. It's just that he turns into like heroes while Ben 10 turns into aliens. So kind of, again, I think it's a cool idea,
Like
especially for a live
he uses
action
like a phone.
movie. Say it again.
He uses like a phone to dial.
Yeah, Ben 10, nobody wants his dumbass in the DC universe. A lot of people do want his.
If he
He's a
is,
cool character. I honestly, I think they should put Ben 10 in the DC universe just
he'll be
because, again,
cameos.
he's kind of a cool character.
This will be
I don't see why they couldn't put him in the DC universe.
He has so many cameos. If he had like, if he died, so many characters. You could see the Superman one for 5 seconds. The Batman. You have so many cameos.
Well, no, he transforms into different. He doesn't transform into
Oh,
established characters. He turns into like random, sort of like heroes that, like he does have, I guess, the powers of certain characters, but it's not really like that, right? I just think
it's a reset.
because he is like not very well known, and the whole premise is literally Ben 10, and Ben 10 is owned by Warner Brothers, I just feel like Ben 10 should just be the character that they merge into the DC universe. Again, they've never attempted to do that. I don't know why. Like, I just, it just seems a little strange to me. They've never attempted to do that. So that's like, I guess, some like obscure, like only 2000s kids really care about Ben 10. But Ben 10 is not trash red, and I mean, you do like Gladiator too, so I mean, now you're taking another L by saying Ben 10 is trash. So yeah, Ben 10 is not trash. Probably one of the best cartoons, man. Growing up, that was absolutely fire until like, I don't know, Ultimate Alien. Ultimate Alien was okay, but it was kind of meh. Um, but anyway, I thought this character would be kind of cool. Very obscure character, very different, very unique power set. So I would like to see him. So next character we got here. Oh yeah, Generator Rex. Ah, meh. Generator Rex was okay. I mean, he has a cool power set, but I don't think he's like as beloved as Ben 10. Like, it was cool when they did that crossover, but Generator Rex is kind of mid, in my opinion. Um, okay, so in this question, this is actually kind of funny because a long time ago, when I was on Twitter, um, I asked James Gunn, I was like, "Do you ever plan to put some of these characters in the DCU and or like use them in his projects because he wasn't running the DCU?" And he actually responded to my tweet. He liked it. So that was actually pretty cool. But this is a character I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to see because, I mean, again, he's kind of like an obscure cult classic character, and that is the question. The question. I really want to see the question. Now, which version of the question? I don't really want to see Montoya as a question. I'm not that interested. I'd rather see the OG version. I feel like this is a James Gunn character though, because it's like I was kind of hoping he would use him in Peacemaker because he's a Charlton character. And for those that don't know, the question, or I should say, Rorschach is based on the question from
I can
Watchmen,
see a
right?
TV series of the Kristen. I can
Yeah, I
see.
think he would be a cool detective. It would be cool to see him even team up with Batman.
Mhm.
He's been all over the place, but I also feel like because what's it called? James Gunn has a ton of writers in the writers' room. I feel like this is a character that they're gonna bring up, especially like Tom King. I feel like Tom King would
He,
bring up this character a lot too.
he could be like he's a detective, obviously, right? So he'd be
Yeah,
investigating conspiracy stuff like that. I mean, I you could probably have Huntress in there since he has a connection to Huntress.
yeah.
All right, I don't know. Not really in a way. I don't know.
I think the question looking weird in live action would kind of be the point. I mean, he has no face. So
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, I think that it would be weird and it's totally something that you could see James Gunn doing personally himself. I just don't know if he's going to have the time to really do this. But
no, he'll probably
I
partner with
I
somebody.
think it works. I mean, these are like weird characters intentionally because I mean, everybody's gonna pick like Green Arrow and all these characters. So it's like I'm trying to go for characters that are like most people are not talking about. So that I feel like I could definitely see. Oh shit, there's a character I'm only I don't know why I didn't put him on the list, but I'm just gonna say him next. So we'll just move on from the question because he just literally appeared in my mind. Um, so that character is we have it here, share screen. The Human Target. I really want to see the Human Target in the DCU. I think there was a rumor uh, last year that James Gunn wants to make a Human Target movie or TV show or some type of project. I mostly know him from this comic, from the Tom King comic, because the whole premise, and I think to be honest, they should just make a movie based on this comic because it's the most cinematic. It would be pretty expensive because it does involve the Justice League, but I feel like you could kind of swap out some characters. You don't need to do. I mean, we're not getting the Justice League anytime soon, right? So, but
No,
it does have characters like so let me just explain the premise. So the premise is that one of the Justice League members or the Justice League international members was actually trying to kill Lex Luthor. And so the human target realizes that there's a member that really wants to do this, and so he's investigating and trying to figure out who's the suspect. And so the suspects being Batman, Guy Gardner, Booster Gold, Ice, and he kind of falls in love with Ice. And so yeah, I haven't like completely finished it. I only have the first volume, but I really like the premise and I could totally see a movie based on this. So,
Memento,
you know, and I
Memento.
didn't put him on the list for some reason. I have his comics sitting there, sitting right on my shelf. So I don't know why I didn't mention him, but yeah.
We're getting
Um.
we're
So
getting movie. Sergeant Law.
yeah, Sergeant Rock movies like rumored. So yeah, there was a Human Target TV show before, but again, it's not has nothing really to do with superheroes. So I think it would be pretty cool. I seen one person say, and I agree with this casting. I think Timothy Oliphant should play the Human
Oh,
Target. I think that would be pretty good casting
because he has the hair
because he
like
does look. The guy does look like him in the comic. So yeah. So I think that's pretty good. So the next character that I have on this list, because I'm going out of order. Um, I guess I'll say, because again, it's like a Tom King character, or at least recently Tom King wrote him. I think there was another comic recently, but he's also a Jack Kirby character. Um, Give me 1 second here to Google it. Okay, and that is Mr. Miracle. I think Mr. Miracle would be a really cool addition to the. Just if they were to put him on the Justice League, I think he would be a cool character to have. He obviously has connections with the New Gods, which I have no
Uh,
clue if DC is gonna do all of that stuff. I mean, there was a rumor that they were gonna do a movie, or not rumor, they announced they were gonna do a movie.
yes, they were. They were
That
doing New
never
Gods,
happened.
New Gods movie.
Yeah, and I still think it's probably gonna happen because, again, Tom King is in
Dave
the
did
writers'
it,
room.
right?
Yeah, Tom King was writing it too.
Yeah.
But I think personally, I mean, uh, I feel like instead of doing a New Gods movie, they should just do Mr. Miracle and then world build and introduce us all the various characters like Orion, and I guess if you want to, you could throw in Darkseid, like just to establish these characters.
It could be like Guardians for Guardians. Oh no, actually Avengers
Well,
characters.
no, there's a group of characters that I will say is more like Guardians, and I do have them on the list.
I'm just saying, I mean, Avengers movie to kind of introduce Thanos, but Guardians is what got some more depth about Thanos. This movie could be like Guardians in the sense that if Pac was to end up, if
I wouldn't necessarily say so. I would say this is more focused on Mr. Miracle and his relationship with
yeah,
Big
like
Barda.
like
But
Darkseid the road.
Darkseid does appear in the comic as like a bit of a joke, like a little kind of, I mean, kind of a joke, but then he's also important, right? Because there's this whole I have the comic right here. There's this whole thing about, yeah, Darkseid is right, because it's like Mr. Miracle is kind of, he's a bit suicidal, right? Like he's having like depression and stuff. I think it's a very deeper kind of story. It's not something that we would typically see in a superhero movie. And I mean, that's why I like Tom King. I think Tom King's style is very cinematic. That's what I would say. I know people don't like his writing. People always like make fun of him, and I don't like his Batman comic. I think that was where he kind of I don't think he meshed well with Batman in my opinion. Oh, I see Aaron said he'll be right back, but yeah, I'm not like, I think he works with more niche characters, and so that's why a lot of characters on this list are from Tom King's kind of like DC work. Um so yeah, I can't, I guess I'll just Google the next character instead of taking it off screen so until Aaron comes back. But another character, since I was kind of mentioning them because he mentioned Guardians of the Galaxy, and that is the Omega Men. That's the characters that I had on my list. Again, Tom King recently just did a comic about them, and it had Kyle Rayner on it. So most of the time, people compare them to the Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, I don't believe they predate the Guardians of the Galaxy. I think they're more of like the modern version of Guardians of the Galaxy, like the one that we all know in terms of the movies, but I don't know when they appeared in the comics, Omega Men. But yeah, it's very Guardians of the Galaxy. It kind of makes sense that the DC universe would have, or at least the DCU, I should say, should have their own kind of Guardians of the Galaxy since, again, DC is very cosmic. So, and I'm sure James Gunn is going to want to play at least with some of the stuff that um, Jack Kirby kind of brought over when he was at DC, which would be cool at least. So you can bring in something that kind of feels like Marvel, but at the same time is still unique to DC.
I see.
Um, they debuted in the 80s. Okay, okay. I don't remember when the Guardians debuted. Let me just Google it.
Omega Man.
Yeah. I don't know if they would want to have Kyle Rayner on here. I mean, I think that would come much later, but I think he should still be a member. And I don't see this team being introduced anytime soon. Let me just see the date. Let me just check. 69. Okay.
Yeah,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Master Lord's in it. He's Sean Gunn, DCU.
Yeah, he's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna put Our Man on here because Our Man has always been like, they keep saying there's a movie in development. They never like said it was canceled or not. So Um, yeah, a little bit weird, but regardless, I think this would be a kind of cool addition. It's like if you're gonna go really, really obscure, and again, because of Tom King, I feel like you might as well put this team in here. Um, Another character that again Tom King recently used was Adam Strange. Um, Again, this character, I don't know how they would do this character. I guess again, people would make the comparison he's similar to Star Lord, but
It
not
would it would
necessarily.
be, it would be the second live action version because there already was a version of Krypton.
Oh, was he in Krypton? Okay, I never even knew that. But
Same with Lobo is in Krypton also.
okay, I've never watched Krypton.
It's a
I
good
couldn't
show
care for
because
Krypton.
it's a good show. They just can't. The problem with Krypton was a good show, but they kind of made it like a point of emphasis. Oh, is confusing people. Is this a prequel to Man of Steel? And
Right.
it's fun. It was a fine show. It's just I
I
don't know.
didn't see your comment, Red, but Adam Strange was already on my list. I'm trying to. I see what people are saying in the comments. I'm just like, because there's some I'm pretty sure there's some characters people mentioned that are already on my list. So I'm not gonna acknowledge what's going on in the chat unless there's a character I didn't put on the list. Because again, I'm trying to go through my points
Yeah,
of why I want the character. I only really again, I just want them to just adapt the Tom King comic. I feel like most of this list is going to be just adapt what was established in Tom King's comic and just put it into a movie because it already feels like a movie. So, and his comic is dealing with this whole mystery of like what happened to Adam Strange during this period of time because it seems like he like completely blanked out and has no clue what he did, and it seems like what he did was pretty messed up. So um don't forget Tom King shelved the Strange Adventure animated series for
yeah.
Max.
Krypton.
Interesting.
I think Krypton. He was sent back in time, like when Krypton, like like way before Krypton was, where Superman's grandfather was alive and his father was alive and his father was.
Right.
It was like the younger days. I think he was Adam Strange was sent back to time to make sure make Brainiac make sure he stopped Brainiac from making sure that Superman is never born. So he has to make sure Superman is
Right.
born, right? And Brainiac. That's the first season, though. That's the first season of Brainiac. And Brainiac actually looked pretty good in Krypton. Pretty good too.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I also I should have mentioned this when I had Mr. Miracle on stream, but because I don't really have a lot of villains. I most of the villains that would have been on this list would have been Batman villains. So I was just like, I'm just not gonna put villains on here because I'm like, they're all Batman villains.
Is it?
But there is one villain that I did want to see, which is kind of funny because I believe we actually saw them in the Snyder cut. I I I don't know
KG Beast was
if
in it.
I'm no, I'm not talking about KGB. I'm talking about a character that is part of the New Gods. And that is let me just
Decide was in it, and I'm pretty sure Granny Goddess was in the background.
yes, I'm talking about Granny Goddess or Goodness.
Goodness. Oh
Uh
well, yeah, Mission Miracle. If they do something with Mission Miracle,
yeah, I always yeah, she was in the Snyder cut. Because I can see it right here.
goodness, right?
Um yeah, Goodness is Granny Goodness. Very kind of funny character in my opinion. Also just very sadistic. So I just was like, oh yeah, they definitely should add her. I feel like there would be a total missed opportunity if you did New Gods and you didn't have her. I mean, that's kind of a no brainer. If you're gonna do New Gods, she's gonna be in
Um,
it. But
you mentioned you
you know what I
mentioned
mean?
Miracle, right? I mean, like, she has to be in that. If Barda's in it, like she has a connection to
Yeah,
that.
she would have to be in that. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I forgot. I should have just mentioned that when I was talking about Mr. Miracle. But yeah, this is like really the. Let me just check on my list because again, I don't have a long list, and I don't have a long list of villains. So yeah. Um. So what was another character that I had? Okay, this one is for Sideways because, well, I mean, the character is called Sideways, and he already mentioned in the chat. Hold on, let me pull up DC.
Oh, okay, you put
Um,
the movie.
yeah, this character is kind of like DC's Spider-Man, but a little bit more interesting because it's like he's a
Ooh,
multiverse character. So, and he hasn't appeared in DC Comics for quite some time, even though his main comic ends on a cliffhanger with his again, it's very similar to Spider-Man, where the character has his powers, he's doing this stuff for clout, um, and then he also kind of learns about this whole dark multiverse and the dark multiverse that was going on with DC at the time is kind of involved with the storyline, but I think for the DCU, you probably would want to change a little bit of elements, but I think this would be kind of a cool character just to have like a multiverse character who's like jumping through portals and is very Spider-Man esque. I know they would probably want Blue Beetle to be their Spider-Man, but at this point, I don't know if they're gonna revisit Blue Beetle. So, in terms of live action, at least, this character live action probably would be expensive. So maybe it would just be like Blue Beetle, where it would just get an animated series. But I don't know. I kind of want to see what they were going to do with this character in the comics because that whole cliffhanger is kind of interesting where it's like, oh, he has his Uncle Ben moment, but what happens if Uncle Ben was actually alive? That's kind of like the idea that they're going for, and that's why I'm like, why did they end it on a cliffhanger that was that big? Because it's like, oh, that would change the character and their direction and what you could actually do with them and their purpose. So I don't know. I would like to see this character. And Sideways always mentioned it, and I remember seeing a video about him, and so I was doing some research on him, like I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, just because out of curiosity. But yeah, I thought, damn, there's actually some interesting stuff with this character, so I put him on the list.
sideways. You
Um,
sideways after this character.
yeah, Sideways, yes. Now another character that I do love this character. I don't know why he's kind of like you know very very underrated character. I mean, pretty much
Oh,
everybody knows Static Shock.
he was in the chat
Um,
mentioned a couple times.
they were trying to make a movie with Static Shock. I believe Michael B. Jordan was producing it, and then that just fell through. I do know, I forget the company that DC bought that owned the rights to Static Shock because he's not an original DC character. There's also a character Icon, which I believe you could see right here. Icon. Yeah, if you could see right there, DC's developing. Milestones is the company's name. There's, I guess they were developing an Icon movie or and a Static Shock movie. And then that just kind of didn't go anywhere.
Go.
Um, Static Shock just seems like a character where it's like, again, I don't know why DC kind of like sleeps on him in terms of like he should probably get another animated series. He should probably get a movie. He should definitely get even I would say maybe even a video game. I could see him in a video game for sure. That would probably do big numbers if they match it up with the right developers and have some interesting mechanics. So it's like again, I just don't know what they're doing. Like some of the redesigns that he's been in recently, again, I'm just kind of not a fan of. I kind of like this with the hat, the classic. I believe this is the classic look that he had. Um, I could be wrong though, but yeah, because then there's obviously the animated series, and I mostly know him from the animated series, which was pretty cool. So yeah, I thought, why not? I don't know where he could really fit in beyond just a solo series. But I guess that's for them to figure out, but we'll see. Um, the next character I had on my list, um, I'm not like the like I only like this character because of the concept, Firestorm.
Oh, yeah, Firestorm.
Um,
Again.
I'm not like infatuated with this character. I just think the premise of it is kind of cool. I kind of also sometimes like when I was a kid, I used to mix him up with Shazam because the idea was kind of like it's like two guys turn into a superhero, and I was like, anyway, I got them mixed up when I was a kid, but yeah, that's the only reason why I always like it always stuck with me because I believe there's an episode where they appear in Brave and the Bold. Someone can say if I'm wrong or not, but that's where I remember seeing them, and I thought it was cool, but then for some reason I thought they were Shazam. I don't know why. or like Shazam was like similar. I don't know why. That was when I was a kid. Obviously now it's been years, right? Like when did Brave and the Bold even come out? I was like maybe 9 or 10. I'm gonna have to Google that now.
The show,
Yeah,
uh,
the show.
I think like 2008, 2009.
Yeah, 2008. Yeah, so like I was like 8. You know what I mean? Like that's where I first saw them. Them and Blue Beetle too, because Blue Beetle was not a character I was familiar with when I was a kid. So yeah. Um. So yeah, I thought this would be like a pretty interesting character. He was also in Injustice too. And he was also in Legends of Tomorrow as well.
Oh yeah,
Um.
he was Martin Stein in
Yeah. I don't think he should get his own movie or anything like that. I just kind of want to see him appear in something.
61 people are suggesting.
Yeah, I don't know where you could really put him in, but I just think if you're gonna put this character, you might as
Yeah.
well. I guess another character from Brave and the Bold, I could be misremembering, but Red Tornado, I believe, was in Brave and the Bold too.
Oh, created by was it created by Doctor Tomorrow? Is that his name?
Sorry, give me a second. Say that again.
Red Tornado created by Doctor T Morrow, or whatever his name is.
I'm not sure. He's not a character I'm really like super familiar with. I just know he was. I'm looking it up. He was in Brave and the Bold. He was in Brave and the Bold.
Yeah, T.O. Morrow. Yeah.
Um. So yeah, there's certain like like again with DC, there's certain characters that I- like I know, but I don't know them like in depth. You know what I mean? Like with
Yeah.
DC, like this is kind of like my take with DC is like there's certain things that I seek out with DC. While compared to Marvel, like I'm very familiar with all the parts of Marvel and like all their sections. But with
Yeah.
DC, because certain characters don't like they come up now and then, but then they kind of like disappear or out or they're not like in. I kind of just avoid them. And I also think some of the DC characters, maybe I'm gonna probably get some shit for this, but I don't think a lot of DC characters that people like for example, Shazam. Like Shazam, kind of cool. Do I really want to read like an entire comic series of Shazam? Not really. He's just not a character I think is very interesting. It's like, okay, it's like, yeah, he turns into a kid. He has like some minor interesting villains, but he's not someone I'm like actively seeking out, right?
I think the
I
only
think
main
that's kind of like
Black
what?
Adam.
Sorry.
Like Black Adam's a big time villain from Shazam from
Yeah,
DC.
but even Black Adam, I feel like is way more interesting than Shazam.
Well,
Just
yeah, that's
because it's like he was on the JSA, that they have that whole run where he's working with the JSA, and it's like that was actually interesting. That's why I was pissed off at the movie because it's like, yeah, the movie actually did have an interesting premise where it's like a villain teaming up with superheroes, but the problem is that was the first time we were actually seeing all of them, so it just doesn't work. You kind of need to establish the characters beforehand to do that. So, but anyway, the JSA is actually something I would want to see, but at the same time, it's like we kind of just did that with Black Adam, so I don't know when we will ever get that again. I just think it's a shame. Like maybe if the JSA was like a team, like a super old team that has like existed in the DCU for like quite some time, maybe then we could see them.
blinded. I can tell you one thing: there's a better chance of Dwayne Johnson coming back in DC as Black Adam than Zachary Levi as Shazam.
I don't want The Rock to come back as Black Adam at all.
But you have to agree there, right? There's still a better chance.
I don't know if I agree at all. I feel like The Rock is pretty much done with DC. Like the
Well, I
his
think he's
movie
done.
just like completely imploded. It and imploded more than Shazam 2. I mean Shazam 2 was awful. Zachary Levi has been saying crazy things, but there
That's
was
a
like
big,
more
big one.
controversy with The Rock and Black Adam than there was with Shazam 2. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like
but The Rock is still in the good graces of Hollywood. Let's be honest. And I think Zachary Levi is not.
I don't think The Rock would even want to come back and do Black Adam
I know. I don't. I just think. I just think him being.
because it would just be ridiculed. Like it would be mocked. It would almost be like if they announced a Madam Web 2. Like people would relentlessly mock it
It's
because
funny.
it's
Funny.
stupid.
It's funny.
Yeah,
He
I feel like just recast Black Adam. Like get an actor who is a more serious actor, someone who
Skip
will
Batista.
take the character seriously, like an A-list actor that is
It's
known for their acting, not The Rock.
it's
You know what I
funny
mean?
because The Rock and John Cena are gonna appear on WWE tomorrow on Netflix for the first time.
Right.
I just want them to get them the rivalry and they could go back at each other. But like the John Cena could easily make The Rock look bad. And I'm still part of DCU, where you're not.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
So
yeah. Who is it going to be? Which big character could walk to the MCU? Because all the big characters are taken. Okay, who could he take?
I don't really know who he could
I
play.
the closest thing to Superman.
I really don't. I'm not. I have like. I honestly, it would have to be like a villain or a cameo because I don't really want to see The Rock in the MCU. Like, I'm just tired of The Rock. I think The Rock is overplayed.
Remember the crazy rumor for like a
Yeah,
year?
that he was gonna play Apocalypse. That was just stupid, insanely stupid. Um, the next character again, because this was a cartoon. This was a cartoon. I don't know how they would do this again because it's like this is like space. It's involved with Superman. I'm not even spelling it right. Legion of Superheroes. Let me pull up the the
Cartoon.
cartoon. This is where I heard about them was that cartoon. I really like this cartoon, the Legion of Superheroes. I thought it was pretty cool. Um, I don't know how this would really fit in with the DCU, given that it's like, well, if you're gonna use Superman, I feel like Superman would be on the Justice League. I mean, it also seems like this is a year two Superman, so it's not like he's a teenager. Maybe it could be Superboy instead, but I don't know. I'm just like, eh. I
Supergirl.
do want to see them just because, again, I just like that cartoon, and I just think, oh, it'd be cool to see um, a space adventure with Superman. But again, I don't know how that would fit in. In all honesty, I really don't know. But it was just something I put on the list because I'm like the cartoon. Yeah, give me a second.
All right. Maybe Supergirl will have Legion because I know she's in. I know she has a tie to Legion superheroes. I think that's where she meets. Is it Monel? Monel?
Sorry, my food came. Sorry about that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can keep going. I'll eat it afterward. But what was I saying? Yeah, I just want to see it just because of the cartoon. A lot of this is because of what I've seen in cartoons, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is like kind of like not talked about, or I don't see people talking about this. Um, but there are some characters that I there's one character who's like an obscure character that out of all of these characters, this is the character I would most be excited to see. Like if this was announced to today, I would like fucking lose my mind. Because I honestly think this is a really cool character, very slept on character. Um, but again, I'm gonna leave that for last. No one has said him, by the way, which makes me think I don't think people have read his comics. But yeah. Um, but anyway, moving on. Another character, again, this is a more popular character, well-known character, of course, and that is John Constantine. John Constantine, I don't know what is happening with Constantine.
Yeah, the sequel.
Because we're supposed to be supposedly getting a second Constantine with Keanu Reeves. I don't mind the Keanu Reeves Constantine. Obviously, I don't want that to be in the DCU. That doesn't make any sense for it to be in the DCU. But I want classic John Constantine. Like I want them to find an actor who is very cinematic because the TV show was decent. I did like the TV show. But I want them because as I've been like
Wait, wait.
saying, the one DC project that I've been like fuming, like pissed off that was never fucking made was
The
Justice League
Dark.
Dark.
Yeah.
I was always pissed off because
Well,
again, if
Toro.
for people who don't know, I love Guillermo del Toro. Like he's one of my favorite directors. I've seen like all of his movies, and the moment that was announced, I was fucking hyped as hell because this guy is like super deep into comics. Like he absolutely loves Marvel and DC. And so it's like when they announced that, I was fucking so hyped. I was like, yes. I mean, most of the characters on this list were characters that would be on Justice League Dark. Deadman, which is rumored he's been getting an animated series. The Spectre, I really want to see him. Zatanna was supposed to be getting a movie. That fucking went nowhere. So yeah, I really want to see Justice League Dark. I mean, Justice League Dark. Listen, James Gunn needs to beat Marvel at this because for some reason Marvel is sitting there twiddling their thumbs,
It's
you
not
know,
like
sticking their finger up their ass.
it's
What are
not
they doing with Midnight Sun? They're doing absolutely nothing. The
it's
magic,
not like this.
dark, supernatural characters are totally washed in the MCU. They haven't done shit with them. So if there's a project that should be fast tracked, it should be Justice League Dark.
It's not
It
like
should be.
it's not like scared. It's not like the scared not doing horror. I mean, they're doing Clayface. That's a horror.
Yeah, they're doing Clayface, but I want listen, if you're going to do Justice League Dark, I'm sorry, but you have to get Guillermo del Toro. You have to get Guillermo del Toro because first off, one, that would be probably a really big deal for the DCU because again, we haven't really had like a big director like Guillermo del Toro at this point. Like he's been nominated for Oscars, he's won an Oscar. He still wants to make comic book movies. I mean, he's making Frankenstein right now. I'm excited for that movie. Um,
I love his cowboy.
I just don't understand why no one is approaching Guillermo del Toro. Like he should be either working at Marvel or DC. I'm pretty sure he would do it. Just let him do whatever the fuck. Just give him a shit ton of money and let him do it. And I'm telling you, the shit would be good. People would be excited as fuck if we had the Justice League Dark, where we have all the characters. Swamp Thing. I mean, we did get a Swamp Thing movie announced,
Space Mango.
so I'm sure James Gunn is thinking about doing a Justice League Dark project. It's not like this is out of the realm of possibilities.
There's a
It's
Deadpool
also one
movie.
of the yeah. It this needs to fucking happen. I don't know. Listen, this is like again like this is not what I'm talking about in terms of the character that I'm really want to see, like desperately want to see. Like, like if I have to, I'll have to kidnap James Gunn and tell him like you have to do something with this character. This is not the characters I'm talking about.
That's
But
funny.
yeah, Justice League Dark, they have to do with something with them. So the next, this is an interesting team, right? Because this is like a Grant Morrison creation, and that is Batman Incorporated. Batman Incorporated is basically like
Yeah,
Batman's attempt to. Oh, are you not seeing it here? Sorry, give me a second here. I was in the wrong tab.
I know Batman Inc.
Batman Inc. or Batman Incorporated.
Yeah.
The whole premise of it is that Batman wants to establish Batman and on an international level, like actually have a group of Batmen who are going to be working in different countries, right? It's a Grant Morrison creation. I don't know if they'll do this, but given that if they are going to be doing Brave and the Bold, it kind of would make sense to have something like this in the DCU. Because one, it's extremely unique for Batman as a Batman concept, and again, most of what we know right now about the DCU Batman is that it's going to be based on Grant Morrison. So I just thought I would throw it in here because I always kind of like the designs of some of the characters. I believe there's also a comic that is not related to Batman Incorporated, but um, it was kind of like it was like different artists and writers' interpretation of Batman in different cultures, and I always thought that was kind of cool. It's something that I feel like makes Batman a little bit, can keep his longevity is like seeing different takes on him from different cultures or different countries and different backgrounds. I think that's pretty cool. So it's like, why not do that as a movie, and see how it works? Maybe it could be an animated series. I don't know, whatever they want to do, but I think eventually at some point it would be cool to have this. So I just put it on the list. And it's Batman related, so why not? Um, what do we got here?
I think it will happen. I actually think it will happen.
Okay, so the last character, because I mentioned this earlier in the stream, The last character before the big character, the meme character that I put on here. Sorry, I spelled his name wrong. Oh, actually, no. Here I in my notes I spelled it wrong. It's Jonah Hex, not John Hex. Jonah Hex. As I was saying, the Josh Brolin movie that
Oh,
was fucking terrible. But a Western superhero like is kind of cool. Oh, by the way, again, I messed up. It's kind of cool. Something is very unique. Marvel could do. They have some Western characters that they could potentially use. It's just that they kind of, I don't know. They don't seem like they're interested in doing a Western superhero movie. But given that Jonah Hex is also kind of like a horror-esque character, I could totally see them doing something like this in the
yeah,
DCU again.
he's
Very
Western.
James Gunn character.
He's Western supernatural.
Yeah.
Like, yes,
I just and for that reason that's why I want to see him. The movie was terrible. It was too
oh,
action oriented.
oh my
Um yeah, I'm not a fan of that obviously. I just think it's kind of funny that yeah, Josh Brolin I feel like Josh Brolin might be the I could be wrong, but if Josh Brolin is in the DCU, would he be the only actor who's played two Marvel characters and two DC characters? Has there been someone else who's played multiple Marvel and DC characters?
he might be the only one. He has played three comic book characters: Jonah Hex, Cable, and Thanos.
Yeah, I think it would be kind of funny.
And it's funny
Um,
thing is, I think Men in Black, and he was also in the sequel to the Frank Miller movies. What are they called? Oh shit! In the 2000s, the Frank Miller movies with Jessica Alba,
Sin City.
Sin City. Those are comic books too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm kind of like a little bit sleepy. I don't know why. But yeah, it was a long day yesterday. By the way, speaking of DC, I might have to talk about this afterward. I
Why?
rewatched a movie. Oh man, I rewatched something that was still fucking
Oh,
terrible.
you picked up some new stuff.
We'll talk about that after.
What's it called? They pick it up.
Okay, at this point, like I've pretty much gone through my list. So the character that I left off, no one said it in the chat. I'm disappointed nobody said. I'm actually gonna look through and just make sure nobody said this character. Um,
And blind what?
I mentioned this character multiple times on stream, by the way, too. I've said like this character needs to be in the DCU. They should do this character. I don't know why they haven't done anything with him. No, no one has mentioned the character. I'm looking through again.
It's not
Nobody's mentioned this character. Red hasn't mentioned this character. Sideways hasn't mentioned this character. Degrassi's not mentioned this character.
seen you mention this character.
Nobody has mentioned this character. Does anybody want to take a guess?
I think so. Is it Animal Man?
Yes, it is
I
Animal
think you
Man.
mentioned it like I don't know like how many years ago, maybe 1 or 2 years ago. You mentioned
Animal Man is like
yeah.
by far the character I'm like, I need to see this character because he's by far one of the most, especially that Grant Morrison run, one of the most trippiest characters that would ever be in live action. Because his whole, here's the thing, right? It's a very meta story that Grant Morrison tells about, you know, the superhero who he desperately wants to be a superhero. He already has a family, and so he tries to give it a go. His powers are essentially that any animal that's near him, he can transform or use their powers, not transform literally into that animal, but gain their powers. And so there's a lot of disturbing stuff that he's able to do. Like at one point, his arm gets ripped off by this, like, I don't know if it was like a werewolf guy, but
Ooh.
guy rips off his arm. He's bleeding out. He's gonna die, and he has to look for an animal that can regenerate. But he's in a alley. He's in an alley. So the only way he can regenerate is like by
The
like
worm?
look, yeah, as a worm. He like finds a worm and he has to regenerate his limb. And so there's a lot of like disturbing, weird shit in the Grant Morrison run. Like one where he literally is like interacting with a wildly coyote clone, like kind of clone character who he is like born into reality, and his whole mission is to save his world from dying. And it's like such a sick kind of story with this cartoon character. It's such a bizarre and weird run. Like Animal Man, even Jeff Lemire did Animal Man too, and that was like batshit insane. Like the character is so fucking weird. That if they made a movie or I feel like it should be a TV show personally because it is very adult oriented and some of the ideas are, I just can't see it being a movie, but I could definitely see it being like a prestigious television show. Like this would be an HBO show. That is just like people just keep talking about of how crazy it keeps getting, the character himself. I mean, I really want to see this character. This is like the obscure DC character that I really want to see. So yeah, that's gonna end my list though. If James Gunn decides to make this, if they announce an Animal Man movie, TV show, you'll be the. I'll go fucking ape shit on this stream. Okay, I'll eat a fucking sock. Okay, I don't know what I'll do on stream
Eat a
if this
sock.
happens because I'll just lose my fucking mind.
Eat a sock. Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know who could play Animal Man.
Chris
I don't
Pratt.
know what the Glenn Powell. No, no.
Glenn Powell's not playing
I
Animal
don't
Man.
know who though.
Glenn Powell's gonna look for
No,
more.
that's a terrible casting.
Glenn Powell got offered a DC role. It's gonna be a more prestige character than Animal Man.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know. I don't know who can play Animal Man, but they got to do it. Someone should add James Gunn, spam him like every. I should just make an account that is dedicated to just spamming James Gunn, saying and make an Animal Man show or movie
like
until it happens.
yeah, you should do that. Go on Threads or on Blue Sky and do that. He doesn't know how to do
Yeah, because at this point, yeah, until he has to make it.
yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, that's gonna end my list. Again, not as organized as the Marvel list because again, if I look more, I know more about Marvel than I do DC, right? Obviously I still like reading DC, but I know more in terms of Marvel and characters and different sections and things that they should do, all that stuff. But regardless, there are still some obscure characters that I do like from DC, that I do want to see, like of course Animal Man. So yeah, now
I don't have a list, obviously, but I do have ideas.
right,
Let's see. Well, the Batman, obviously, like the World Gallery is obvious. If I want to go talk about Batman, I'm not going to talk about the main villains of Batman, like Two Face, Penguin, Joker. I'm sure we're all going to see them. It's too obvious, I'm sure. Um, if I talk about some of the other villains from Batman, who? Like I don't know, but he like maybe more like Clock King, maybe. But Clock King would be more of an obscure villain, right? Um, Superman, Metallo could be. I mean, Metallo, Toyman maybe. Uh, Metallo is easy. It could be like military. Toyman maybe. Uh, Wonder Woman, obviously, Wonder Woman. We got Cersei already. There's like the big villain there. You're obviously probably gonna get Ares from Wonder Woman. I don't. Okay, from the Lanterns, it's probably not gonna be a major villain, but I'd like to see Larfleeze in some capacity. But and Atrocitus. Um, from the Flash, yeah, I like to see. I like to see the Rogues. I like to see the Rogues. Um, okay, from the hero side of things, Amazel is a good example. The hero side of things, uh, I like to see. I mean, Superman Steel eventually. Um, who else? I don't know who else. From the Titans, obviously, you're probably getting the Titans. Well, we are getting a Titans movie. We don't know who's getting in it. You see, like you, I don't know much. Like, I don't. There's a lot of characters. What else I can think of? Oh, from I like to see. I can't pronounce his name, but the leprechaun always bothers Superman. I like to see that. that character, Mister Mystic or whatever. It's so hard to say, but I like to see that character just for the fun of it. Just for the fun of it. But they probably won't use it. Use them. I like to see Deadshot come back. Catman. Oh, you're speaking about animals like Vixen. Vixen. Um, you could have like Vixen, Animal Man, and Beast Boy on like some animal team. Create an animal team. The Animal Force. Blinded. The Animal Force. I don't know who else. It's but you wanted to talk about some other stuff, like other. You wanted to yeah, you wanted to talk about BVS, right? He might be eating blinded. Let y'all know.
Yes, I'm eating. I'll have to mute my headset, but there is one character I was gonna say, or not character, but team. Checkmate.
Oh, checkmate.
Checkmate.
That might. You know what? It might be eventually.
Checkmate and the Secret Six.
Oh yeah, that might be happening, right? Checkmate in a Secret
I
Six.
feel like it might be happening. Yeah.
A Legion of Legion, was it Legion of Doom? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, Legion of Doom or the Injustice League or whatever which way because they have different names.
Yeah. So you wanted to talk about BVS again? Like,
Yeah, I saw BVS last night. I rewatched it because I haven't seen it. It's going to be 9 years since BVS, so I haven't seen it since it was in theaters. And me and my friends were, I don't know, we were kind of curious, so we watched the ultimate cut, and it's still a bad movie. It's I would say, there's different levels of bad, but Batman vs Superman is a movie that just the major conflict of the movie just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make a lick of fucking sense. The whole point of the movie is that Lex Luthor is trying to frame Superman and for, committing this crime or killing these terrorists in what was it, Africa, the Middle East, wherever it fucking was.
Africa.
And that's supposed to be the basis of why, people can't trust Superman. And also why Batman is against Superman because Batman now sees, oh, look at what happened to Metropolis, the damage that was caused, all these people that has died. He's obviously, if he's on the wrong side, he could kill a ton of people, right? But here's the thing, right? This is what I don't understand and why I feel like this movie is so poorly written is that first off, one, why is Batman so fucking gullible in this movie? He does no fucking investigation on Superman. He doesn't even fucking ask any questions to Superman about his intentions and what he plans to do. Like there's in this movie that is almost 3 hours long, Batman and Superman only interact mostly toward the ending. It's
They
absolute fucking nonsense. It makes no fucking sense.
only interact like 3 or 4 times. Like once is Clark and
Yeah, well, they interact with Clark and Bruce, but that's not
Bruce.
even what I'm saying, right? What I'm trying to say is Batman's whole thing is that we can't trust Superman. Superman is too powerful. We're even seen in this movie where everybody's like, "Oh, if Superman has all this power, what is he going to do with that power? What happens if he decides to go against us?" And you're like, "Where is that even coming from?" First off, one, based on one fucking incident that happened in Africa and there was literally zero proof. Zero fucking proof.
I mean, the thing is, you're gonna have Superman. You're gonna have Superman. The Battle of Metropolis is gonna happen a lot when you face out superpowered beams. You're gonna have collateral damage to Superman. It's a problem. Uh, yeah. Batman did no. Bruce Wayne did no detective work. No detective work on Superman. All he did was detective work, basically a little bit on Lex Luthor in the that right where you got the kryptonite and all that stuff, and the files over these metahumans. It's what's really I don't like about BVS. After all of a sudden there's metahumans like out of the blue, like all of a sudden, oh the Flash is there. Oh, we got Aquaman has been discovered. Oh, Wonder Woman. Like really? Really? So Batman, Bruce Wayne's been Batman for 20 years, and all of a sudden, metahumans were found. Like, I don't like that. I I agree with you. I don't like the writing. Uh, the Martha stuff is hilarious. Um, I don't like the Robin part, like where like what the commentary Zack Snyder said. Oh, that's Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson. I don't like that. Right? That I
Well,
think
this
that
is the thing, right? Because you were saying, damn, I forgot what you just said, but before the Robin part, because I was eating, sorry. Okay, well, let me just address Robin, right? Because listen, the whole Batman kills rule or killing, I have an issue with that because Batman's whole fundamental thing is that he doesn't kill because
yep.
one,
Even with
it's
Jason
supposed
Todd.
to be it would be hypocritical of him to kill his villains when his whole story is about redemption. It's literally about, hey, Gotham is a crap hole, and that's because people let it just
Hey,
become crime
you know
riddled.
what said
And
blinded? If Robin's death is the downward spiral to a point where he kills, why is the Joker still alive?
but that's what we keep saying. Why is the Joker still alive?
Yeah.
There's interactions in Suicide Squad with Batman and Joker, and he doesn't kill him. And this
No.
is the thing: if this was a Batman who was maybe like an older Batman that was like
And
recently went off the hinge, and like Joker's trying to avoid him, certain people are
I,
trying to avoid him, that might make sense. But I feel like that whole like
I think
he kills people needs to be developed more. It's not developed at all.
and his thing is in when the death in the family when Jason Todd dies, Joker wanted to kill Batman wanted to kill Joker, but he didn't. He managed to stop Joker, and after that, Batman went to a phase where like he was angry, kind of the phase you see in the BVS, right? Kind of that kind of phase, right? Reclusive, angry, more violent. But he never got to a point where he went to kill. But he was still able to hold back. Jack Snyder didn't with his Batman.
I don't even like I said, I don't mind because listen, this is not the Batman that we know. Yes, it was supposed to be establishing a cinematic universe, but let's just remove all of that and say this Batman does kill.
Right? The
Okay?
thing is, I don't think
The
DC
whole premise of
like
him
that.
killing in the movie doesn't even make sense.
I know you think it's blinded. I don't even think Warner Brothers understood that because they were planning a Nightwing movie. Remember? You're like, what?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they obviously didn't understand what was going on in BVS because BVS introduces all these different things that it makes you go, does this even make sense? Like none of this makes any
Nope.
fucking sense. Why does By the
DC.
way, there's so many like toward the ending of the movie, Lois Lane has the kryptonite spear. This is just like a minor thing. I'm just showing you how
Yeah.
sorry. Sorry, give me a second. I'm
You're
showing
good.
you how stupid this movie is, right? Because Lois Lane throws the kryptonite spear that Batman had into the water, trying to get rid of it, being like, okay, this thing is going to kill Superman. I'm going to get rid of it. Later in the movie, Batman realizes we need that kryptonite spear in order to take down Doomsday because he's of Kryptonian origin.
Yeah, DNA. Yeah.
Cut to a scene where Lois Lane is now running back to get the kryptonite. How did she know to go back and get the kryptonite spear?
Yeah, the Batman Tower.
Never explained. It's never fucking explained. So there's like all these like little moments in the movie where it's like one, there's a lot of fucking scenes of people just fucking talking bullshit. The Daily Planet is full of incompetent idiots like Perry White, whose their whole thing is supposed to be investigating. They don't do jack shit. Superman doesn't do any sort of investigation. Batman doesn't do any sort of investigation. He's
And
supposed to be the world's greatest detective, and for some reason, he still believes that
and you
Superman is
know what's
responsible for
and
all
this
of this shit
BVS
that has happened.
you know what? His Snyder cut, right? Remember the guy who was fucking Martian Manhunter in BVS. That character was in BVS, but there was no hints of him. Oh, maybe he's really secretly Martian Manhunter. Like no hints.
Yeah,
Really?
there's no. I mean, he is like involved in
Yeah.
Batman versus Superman, but it's like,
Nothing, but it's nothing there to suggest that he's somebody else.
well, his whole. I mean, well, they. he was also stupid too. Like to blow up a nuke. Like this is why it's like the movie is almost like not aware of what it's trying to say about Superman. That when it's applied to other characters, it is completely ignored. This whole thing is, oh, Superman has all his powers and stuff. How do we know he's gonna act responsibly? Then cut to the government literally blowing up a nuke over the fucking Earth. Don't you think that was irresponsible? Don't you
Well,
think like, and they just did it willy nilly, and there's no commentary on it. It's like the people who wrote this movie, they didn't ask any questions. There's no fucking logic behind any of this movie. Here's
there's
another thing that
nothing.
happens in the movie that is
It took
insanely
me.
stupid. Why
There's only
doesn't Superman hear the bomb?
only Zack
Why
Snyder.
doesn't Superman hear? Hold on, wait a minute. Why doesn't Superman hear the bomb in the
Yeah,
courthouse?
superheroes, right? Yeah, superheroes.
He can hear Lois and all these people across the world, but he can't hear the fucking
Bomb.
bomb that's in the fucking chair.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's able to hear the lowest sound, very low sound. Like yes,
It's a lot of like stupid, a lot of convenient shit that happens in this movie. Conveniently, Batman uh doesn't fucking know. Oh yeah, Superman is not responsible for these terrorist acts. Superman is not responsible for any of these things. He could easily do research and investigate and find out. He could literally,
I can
he
nitpick
could
Civil
literally go to the fucking source and ask him, "Hey,
Civil War is a much
are
better
you are
movie.
you doing this shit?" Never. That never happens in the movie.
Civil War is a much better movie, but there's one nitpick I have. There's a few nitpicks, but one major nitpick I have it when Bucky Barnes is pretty framed for the bill for the I guess it's the United Nations where the Black Panther's
Where he
father.
kills Black. Yeah.
It's an easy scan to zoom in and they detect that's not really Bucky Barnes. I'm sorry. In that
Well, I
universe,
mean, it's still Bucky Barnes, right? It's hard to like say if he was,
I'm just
if because it's like he was under mind control, right?
um oh yeah it
He
was.
was still under
No,
mind control,
but it wasn't Bucky Barnes who did that. It was actually Zemo who did that. Zemo memory covered himself up. It wasn't Bucky Barnes. It just looked like Bucky Barnes.
right? I mean, I'll have to go watch Civil War again, but when it comes to Batman versus Superman, it's still there's no conversation. That's my problem. There's no conversation with
Not
Batman
responsible
and
in that
Superman
movie.
about what is actually going on. And it only happens toward the ending where they actually fight and Batman is ready to kill Superman. And this is the thing, right? If Batman did kill Superman, they would be fucked because Batman is such a absolute moron that he had no fucking clue what Lex Luthor was doing. Which, by the way, the
Yeah,
shit that Lex Luthor was doing to create Doomsday again makes no fucking sense.
yeah,
How does Lex Luthor know how to do
he
any of this shit? Never
just
explained.
he just pick up on he couldn't pick up on stuff. You look at all the other Batmans. Look at Robert Pattinson's Batman. You can pick up on stuff he's being manipulated or whatever. Like
Yeah, but there's
Batman was
clues. There's no like Batman is supposed to be a detective. Batman doesn't just sit in the shadows and does nothing. He goes and
same.
investigates and talks to people.
This is
He's
the
a
same director.
detective.
This is the same director that says that if Batman was in the prison, he would get raped. Like
Well, it
raped.
doesn't like the point is that Zack Snyder is trying to introduce this idea about Superman, and it doesn't even work. Because it's like first off, one Superman hasn't even really shown signs that he's going to flip. He really hasn't. And then also, Superman, this entire movie is like depressed, and he's like, I don't want to keep saving these people. And then Lois Lane's like, you don't owe these people anything, and you're like, why then why do you save people? Like you're always in the first off, people hate you for bullshit reasons. And instead of being like, hey, I'm going on the news and saying I'm innocent, he just sits there and goes, I'm not gonna do anything. It's not my responsibility. And you're like, so they're gonna slander you, you're not gonna respond, and then you're gonna mope around and be mad? It's like this is why it's like, how do people legitimately sit there and say that they actually like this movie or they think this movie is deep? There's nothing deep about this movie. It's trying to make an argument about, well, if these people have uh, the power to basically wipe out the planet, like, isn't that fucking like an ethical concern? Aren't we supposed to be scared and shouldn't we try to clamp down and control this force. Meanwhile, the government is doing the exact same thing that they're saying, oh, Superman's going to do. They're going to flip and do all crazy types of stuff. Like I said, they blow up a nuke in front of, in fucking space above the fucking atmosphere. You don't think, like, and there's no commentary on it. It's like, shouldn't that be pointed out that it's like you just took a massive risk? This plays into the theme of the story about, again, like great power comes great responsibility. That's basically the theme of the story. And yet it seems like the writers have no fucking clue what they're even trying to say. What is the goal and motivation? Another thing is Batman, the reason why he switches on Superman's side and becomes his quote unquote friend, he tells fucking Martha, is because he says Martha and that reminds him of his own mother.
I
So Batman is like this egotistical, narcissistic fuck who this entire time he's fighting Superman and he's telling him, your parents probably taught you what was right and wrong and what to do and the good thing, but you are deep down inside, you're gonna be corrupt and you're gonna take over. He's saying that, then all of a sudden he's reminded, oh yeah, Superman is
this
also human, similar to
why
me.
this is why I say Zack Snyder doesn't read the comics. He just reads some of the graphic novels, picks and chooses the graphic
It's
novels.
not even you don't even need to read comics.
I know.
He just doesn't know anything about storytelling. Like, yeah, okay, the movie looks visually nice, but who the fuck cares if you're looking at the story? Half of the scenes are people talking. It's boring as shit. There's no suspense. There's no entertainment value. The fucking theme of the story is crapshoot. It's garbage. It makes no fucking sense. And yet there's people like, mind you, Grace Randolph was hyping up this movie 9 years ago.
I was hyped up for it too, man.
Remember,
Because I was hyped. I was hyped
no,
for
Grace Randolph likes this movie.
I know she does.
Likes this
You know what she
movie.
said? You should watch the stream. You know what she said? She said gun fans are worse than Snyder fans. That was her last stream on Lobo.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
said, well, and mind you, she said that she's saying people in her chat are attacking her.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
on members only.
Side of me showed me something
It's
about
on members only. So what does that say? What does that say? The people who are attacking you, they're literally paying you money. They're literally paying you money. Your own fans,
it. Yeah,
you are telling them they are more toxic, quote unquote. By the way, the word toxic, every time Grace Randolph uses that word toxic, it's because one, people leverage criticism at her and she doesn't like that.
I don't
She
see.
lives in her, like, listen, these people, these Snyderverse people, all of these people like to come here and sit down and talk about what is deep and people are misunderstood. Nobody misunderstood this piece of shit of a movie. It was boring as shit. It
It
makes no fucking sense. And
she
it's a fucking butcher, a
ended.
massacre of the fucking characters.
People. If that was the case, it would have been a good movie, right?
Well, yeah, we would
What
have gotten tons of sequels.
miss? If a movie is misunderstood, then it's not a good movie.
Listen, there are movies that people, you know, when they first came out, they were not critical successes. They weren't box office successes.
Yeah,
Later on, people are like, hey, this is a good movie. But we are 9 years removed from Batman vs. Superman. People are still, I rewatched the movie. I just said, you know what? Okay, I haven't seen this movie in 9 years. I'm going to rewatch it. And rewatching the movie made me realize this was never a good movie. It was not a good movie, even if it was 3 hours long. Okay, it's still a piece of crap movie. And Zack Snyder, we have already proven that Zack Snyder is not a competent storyteller. He's just not.
no.
If that was the case, we would have seen every movie afterward be a good movie.
What time
The
what time
Snyder cut,
what time
the Snyder cut is maybe the closest we've gotten to his DC being good, but that doesn't even matter
a
because
lot of holes in
it
the
had to be 4 hours long to be good.
yeah, there was a lot. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. His actual Snyder Cut movie would not be in 4 hours anyway. It would have been different. It would have been different. It could have been bad. The actual film he was making, it could have been. It's not 4 hours. But most of the stuff we got in the Snyder Cut will not even make it will not even make it to to the theaters, right? Like, but they told him, you know what, you know what, you told him you got HBO Max. You know what? Go ahead, make it 4 hours, because you're not gonna no theater, no No studio's gonna let anybody have 4 hour movie, right? Like no studio. So like so people suggest like the Snyder cut. I guarantee it would have been a different cut. Some stuff would have been taken out in the Snyder cut. Yes, like yeah, sideways. I remember that. People like Marvel was literally scared of BVS, right? Then they did Captain America: Civil War, and look at the results. Also, well, Godzilla versus Kong. Well, here's the thing: Godzilla versus Kong did very well this year. Top 10 box office. Um, Captain America: Civil War made a lot more money, made it $1 billion mark, and it was a better had a better reception. Okay, better reception. Okay, here's the thing. Marvel was scared about BVS, as did Captain America Civil War. But it wasn't like people were not excited for Captain America Civil War. People were excited for Captain America Civil War because the Russos were directing it. It just came after Winter Soldier, right? It's the Russos directing. And it was kind of like a mini Avengers. Captain America Civil War was kind of like a mini Avengers movie. It's like 2.5, Avengers 2.5. Okay? Like, I personally think Captain Marvel should not have been worried about BVS. I think they would have been fine without not worrying about BVS. Honestly, what do you think, Blinded? I know you're eating. um, yeah, I mean, look, there's
I mean, sorry, I was eating. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Batman vs Superman. Batman and Superman were the most well-known superheroes, and them having a confrontation, of course, that was going to be a big deal
yeah,
because Marvel was the new guys. Technically, like they've only reached mainstream.
and they
It
never
hadn't even been 10 years yet. It was around 8 years, right? So,
like Batman, Superman in Marvel. I mean, well, Spider Man, but he wasn't around. I mean, till then,
well, no, but I mean, the thing is, Civil War, Civil War did numbers because one, it was an Avengers movie. One, they did reveal Spider-Man in the trailers. They did say Spider-Man is going to be in the movie, and so that was also a big deal.
yeah,
And then, people. I don't think people were expecting it to be as big as Batman vs Superman because people thought Batman vs Superman was going to make was going to be like a massive movie, which it probably would have been because if you look at it, it
it did
still
well.
made $800 million.
Yeah,
Most comic book movies today would be like thankful for making $800 million.
but had like the one of the biggest drops the second week.
Yeah, it had one. Yeah, that's because it
Word
was
of
a
mouth.
bad movie.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, I remember people were more hyped for BVS than that. I don't want Henry Cavill in the DCU. If he's gonna play a different role, it's gonna be called a traitor too. Like if I want to see Batman and Superman in the movie, in a DCU, if it's not Justice League, it has to be a team like DC Finest or something like that. Something like that as a team. I don't want to see Batman versus Superman again. Okay, I want to see I want to see them as a team. The thing is, obviously, anybody would be excited to see Superman and Batman in a movie together. But I don't think people. I mean, people are excited for this movie, but to me, I think the first introduction between Batman and Superman should not be against each other. Look, they can have a little skirmish at first, but then team up halfway through the film and stuff like that. Kind of like the Avengers. Remember in the Avengers, remember Thor? Thor was fighting with Captain America and Iron Man over Loki. Remember that? You remember that, Blinded, right? Right in the forest, right? Thor was fighting with Iron Man in Captain America in the forest in Avengers, something like that. You do something like that. A little skirmish there, and then you know what the parasites are differences, and be like, okay, we need to team up, something like that. I think in the DCU, they already know about each other, so we won't have that issue. So we're not going to have Batman going after Superman because Superman is a threat to the world. I think they already know each other. That's a good thing. So a movie with them together, but it's not just a league. They'll be a team. They'll be a team up, a tag team. I don't know about General Zod.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. I think they probably will know each other. Plus, there's already been superheroes, so I feel like Superman is not going to be a threat.
And
I do think, and this is why I watched Batman vs Superman, because even though we don't know what Superman the story is going to be, something makes me think it's going to be very similar to Batman vs Superman.
oh, that's worrisome.
Um, Not in the terms of exactly what the story is, but in terms of the themes and ideas that they're trying to present. And that's why I'm not like saying that we didn't need a Batman vs Superman movie, but I think what needed to happen was we needed to have Man of Steel 2. We needed to have a Batman movie with Ben Affleck and then a Batman vs Superman because that movie has to do so much legwork in establishing Batman and the whole conflict that it almost feels like it needed to be multiple movies. And also going back to what I was saying about James Gunn's Superman, I think because if you think about it, we have a potential clone of Superman. We have Lex Luthor trying to frame Superman. We also have this idea of other superheroes already existing.
Yeah.
There is something that I'm guessing James because there's been there's been multiple people who have done commentary on Batman vs Superman in terms of like directors, right? Joss Whedon like had a like people say this, and I mean it's been so long now, like, but Age of Ultron is a response to Man of Steel, right? Like in terms of what happens. Like there's some of the decisions that the Avengers make that is almost like, oh yeah, like you would have that wasn't even mentioned in the first Avengers movies. Like um Tony Stark calculating the amount of people in a building so that he can throw the Hulk into that building. That was done because of Man of Steel.
Oh yeah.
Because Man of Steel was so reckless in terms of the destruction that it almost felt like all like if you're wiping out half of a city, all these people are gonna be dead.
But
It's almost like Superman didn't even really
didn't
save
he
anyone.
fight?
He just beat up Zod and that was it.
Didn't he fight? Didn't he have that fight in
So
Sokovia and like nobody died in Sokovia? I'm pretty sure people died in the Final Fantasy Sokovia. Come on.
yeah, I mean a ton of people died, and then somehow they rebuilt the city in like less than fucking a year, and they're
It's
like,
because it's literally
okay,
unrealistic.
I,
I mean, people gonna die in these superhero battles in these cities. I mean, it's fortunate. I mean, you have to stop the bad guy if you
yeah,
everybody's
but the whole thing is like the whole thing is, and this is what I don't understand is they're superheroes. It's a problem solving activity of how can we save the
yeah.
most amount of people and take down the bad
Like,
guy. But that's never addressed in any of the movies.
Superman can easily knock out the big guy and to put in the desert or something, like go him to the desert where there's nobody around.
Well, he can do exactly what he did in Man of Steel, but what like how is he Superman if he doesn't even attempt to be like,
Like
hey,
bothering
half of the
himself.
city is gonna fucking blow up. What are we supposed to do? Like all these people are gonna die. Like how do we save them? Like there's no discussion, there's no thought about it. This is the whole point of superheroes. Like the whole point is they're supposed to be saving people.
Yeah.
Like again, and I said this before, like what happened to having scenes like we did in Spider-Man 2 where Spider-Man doesn't just go after Dr. Ock after Dr. Octopus like fucking derails the subway train where now it's running and it's gonna run off the track.
Yeah.
Oh, now you're too loud. You're like blowing up.
You know what happened was I unplugged my mic and then I saw the speaker volume go all the way up. You know the green on the side. I'm like, okay, that works. How about now?
Right.
Better now?
Maybe just like slightly lower.
Okay. Now?
Yeah,
Is this
that's
better?
fine.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Continue.
But yeah, I just like so much of these movies have like gone away from the superhero saving the day to just being We have to have a cool action sequence. It has to be this big destructive
Yeah.
blue beam in the sky, and everybody completely forgets about the people that are walking around, the civilians.
See what we see
It's
from
like
the
again,
trailer.
when was the last time we saw people being saved in a Marvel movie? It's I like
They
you
did
know
it
what I
in
mean? Like
Avengers. They did it in the first Avengers movie and the second Avengers movies, and that's about it.
Infinity War was just them fighting a bunch of people. It's like there was
Yeah, it's
I don't
because
even remember seeing the
Infinity War.
civilian
There's a
in.
funny thing when the Wanda Vision scene. I think they were in like, England or France, but there was nobody around. There was just them.
Mhm.
There was no. I saw
Nobody was
no.
around.
Yeah, there was no civilian. There was no civilian except those two, right? And then they got attacked by the Black Order. I'm like,
Yeah,
where's everybody else? Really?
yeah. It just
And,
I don't know. It's like all these movies like that's why I feel like the Sam Raimi movies still hold up because it's like they're doing stuff that even modern superhero movies are not doing. It's just weird. It really is weird. And the fact that we still have to continue with this Zack Snyder conversation when those movies were clearly flawed in their entire approach and the storytelling. And first off, one, if you want to say, okay, like, you know what, that doesn't even, I was going to say, like, if you want to say people's expectations of the character was misplaced, maybe that's fair to say for Zack Snyder, but then I realized that doesn't even make sense because their motivation was to make a cinematic universe. And the assumption was that these characters were going to be similar to who they are in the comics, and it's going to be DC's attempt to make a cinematic universe like Marvel. But Zack Snyder, his approach was just to
Spider-Man.
deconstruct the characters and do
Yeah,
something totally
and
different with them.
deconstruct them and come back from this deconstruction redemption.
Yeah,
Like
but it doesn't that doesn't even make sense to do when you haven't established the characters.
exactly. Look at
And
Marvel
so
now.
and that wasn't even did people even know that when Batman versus Superman was coming out that these are not going to be the characters that you know from the comics, but rather an interpretation? I don't think so. I think that came afterward, where people realized, oh yeah, this is not going to be what we expected.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, now there is this weird narrative that, oh yeah, DC is dark and Marvel is lighthearted. It's like, man,
Mm,
I don't know. It's just bizarre to me. It's
I don't
really
think
is weird.
I don't think Marvel's lighthearted. I just think Disney on the pulls the restraints a bit.
I mean, the movies are one thing, but it's like
Yeah, the comics
I don't
aren't
know. It's just
lighthearted. Yeah,
all these yeah, all I don't know. The fact that we always keep talking about Snyder all the time, knowing that these movies were never like I still see YouTubers like there's this one YouTuber I forget his name, but I'm like this guy obviously doesn't like James Gunn. Um
I
but
probably
it's
know.
like his entire videos are just like, oh, I think his recent video was about Creature Commando, and it's like, oh, Batman appears, but like you don't see anything in this Batman, right? But you see his size, and the size looks like
It's a
he's Ben Affleck's
cartoon.
Batman. And if that, and why are people praising the silhouette when he literally looks like Ben Affleck's Batman? And it's like,
It's a
first off,
cartoon.
the angle that he's at,
Yeah,
who the fuck even knows what his size is? Like, I don't know why people on social media were even like, oh, that looks like what's that actor's name? Alec Rickman or whatever his fucking name
Alan
is. What is that
Rickman,
guy?
too big
You
to be
know who
that
I'm
man.
talking about. Yeah, yeah, that guy, right? People were like, that looks like him. And you're like, it's a low angle of him. I don't even know his size. It looks like he's wide, but it's like that's because it's a low angle.
Yeah,
Anybody in a low angle is gonna look pretty wide. So it's like
Alan Richardson, not
I
Rickman.
it's like
Sorry,
you don't even whatever his name is. I don't remember. I said Ali Rickman.
it's
I know
Richardson.
what people are
I said
you know
Alan
what I'm
Rickman
talking
too.
about though. You
Yeah, I know.
yeah. Yeah, like people keep bringing and it's like first off one we don't even know. Like James Gunn himself even said he's not ready to commit to a design for Batman because it's too far away. He literally just said that himself. So it's like for people to just be like, "Oh, well, this looks like Ben Affleck's Batman," and Why are people praising this? It was like stupid as hell. It's like every single time people keep bringing up the Snyderverse stuff, and you're like,
And
when can people get it through their thick fucking skulls that the
James,
general audience didn't like it? They
yeah,
didn't fucking like it. Why are
and
we still talking about it?
it's a fucking cartoon. Batman in the cartoon in the anime series looks really, really jacked too. Like same as Superman. It's the cartoon,
Yeah,
the
the
comics,
characters don't look.
real
First off,
look.
it's a cartoon.
Yeah,
It's not. We already know. First off, one, uh, Rick Flag Senior, he's not gonna have white hair in the next two projects, right? And
yeah.
that was because of they couldn't do it for
He's
you
alive,
know
huh?
yeah, he is alive. But I mean,
Spoiler, guys.
it's like all these things people keep bringing up.
Sorry.
It's like every day. And by the way, Grace in that live stream, she pretty much confirmed she didn't watch Peacemaker because she said,
I
from
know.
what people have told me, Peacemaker's bisexual.
No,
What do you mean people
no.
told
She
you?
he was hitting a. Was he? Yeah. People
What do you
told
mean
her.
people told you? That's in the show.
Yeah.
That's literally in
Yeah.
the show. We see that. So that makes me think she didn't see the show.
Well,
Or
she
she's
said she did
wording
see
it
it.
in a way that, based on that, if you play that comment, and that sounds like she didn't watch the show. It's either she didn't watch the show
No.
or she's choosing her words carefully to make it seem like she didn't watch the show. In my opinion, it seems like she didn't watch the show. Which, if you didn't like the show, why are you constantly
She's
complaining and making up shit about the show? You don't even know the
she's
content of the show.
she's this all this DC stuff. It's gonna. It's breaking
Like
Grace.
it's
It's breaking Grace.
it's gonna listen. Even if Superman is successful, Grace is gonna move the goalpost.
I
Grace isn't a first off one. The fact that there's people on social media every single
I
time, like she talks about James Gunn and his bitches. What about Grace Randolph and her little fucking babies? Right, her babies that constantly fucking
yeah I get them.
gather up the shit that she says and then put it out there and then make it seem like Grace was right, or look at what they're trying to do to Grace Randolph. They're trying to slander Grace Randolph. And it's like, what the fuck? It's like the same thing she says
I
about
could
James Gunn. She literally has a army of fanboys.
I could tell
Do
you
you
one
think
thing.
the people who are subscribed to her members, you don't think they're simps? She has
She has
only
some.
member
Yes.
only streams, and she's sitting there saying she's being harassed by James Gunn fans. How?
Oh,
How? Doesn't that mean your members are James Gunn fanboys then? Because they're fucking you're only on members only.
because our stuff on James Gunn DC stuff just been getting roasted in the chats, on the
Because
comments.
she deserves it. She's like,
Yeah,
Grace Randolph is a fucking clown. She's a absolute clown. She hides behind all this
yeah.
stuff. By the way, people always point out how Grace Randolph says the most ridiculous shit. And for some reason, she's not toxic. She's not a racist. She's not an ableist. She's not homophobic. She's none of those things, but she can say crazy fucking batshit insane shit that makes her seem like she's
I just hate
not a sheltered person.
her
That's what
being
she comes across as.
her point on Lobo. She knows those bullet points she makes. I'm like, what the fuck? Like she brings up Jason Momoa's box office numbers. I'm like, yeah, but you see who else is in that movie? Who else in that movie has even
Yeah,
the
the main
cachet?
character hasn't even led a movie.
Yeah, yeah.
So who the
No,
hell cares?
yeah. And also, she's like, but Lobo's not a Supergirl woman type. Who the fuck cares? Not every adaptation it has to be exactly panel for panel. Like seriously, I'm not adapted. Not adapted. She has this idea that if you're gonna base a comic book movie based off of a comic book graphic novel or whatever, it has to be exactly the same.
Which has never happened, mind you.
Yeah, never happened. I said it in my stream. You know the Champion versus Grace. I mean Grace. Marvel bases their comics off some of the graphic novels. Never the same. Civil War. Never. The only thing from Civil War is they took from the comics. Captain America versus Iron Man. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, hold on, what did Sideways say? She said that James Gunn isn't successful than Zack Snyder at the box office. Zack Snyder, that's another thing she did say too. in that stream where she was talking about 300 and all the stuff that he did before. Zack Snyder was also not fucking good at the box office either. That is a load of shit. The only movie that Zack Snyder had that was even a modicum of a big, like a movie that was
I mean,
actually successful at the box office was 300. 300 was a
I mean, the
breakout
guys,
success in terms of the box office.
the
So
guy's
what is
working at
she even talking
Netflix.
about?
The guy's working at Netflix, and this guy's working at Warner Brothers, and his films get more studio, more theaters to look at than. The only
Zack
thing
Snyder
she
had two movies before Man of Steel that were not box office
no,
successes.
no,
And then
no.
Batman versus Superman was also not about a box office success. If you don't want to account Man or um what did I just say? Batman versus Superman had a problem at the box office. Justice League, if you want to count that, that still had Zack Snyder's name on it. That was a massive flop, right? And most people, let's be honest, they probably still associate that movie with Zack Snyder, even though it's not a Zack Snyder movie. Then Zack Snyder hasn't even released movies. Hasn't released a movie in theaters that wasn't attached to Netflix.
I think there's a good chance to look for
Netflix
Dennis
put out
President.
Army of the Dead, and that was really it.
Well, the thing is, yeah, the thing
They
is,
didn't even. I don't even think they put Rebel Moon in theaters for a couple of weeks.
they did for like
I
a
don't even think
week
they
and
did
that's
that.
it. And Rebel was shit. Like his Netflix stuff is shit. I
But
don't
this
know.
comparison that is always being brought up with Zack Snyder, Zack Snyder, Zack
I'm just
Snyder.
saying.
Zack Snyder hasn't. James Gunn with Marvel has had more box office successes.
All the
His
Guardian
recent
movies made
track
over
record
seven
is
hundred
more
million.
consistent.
All his Guardian movies made over.
Yeah. So I don't understand what like why does she cherry well we know why she cherry picks. She doesn't
She
first
doesn't
off
like
she
Gun.
doesn't like James Gunn.
That's why.
We already know that. And the fact that she always has to tiptoe around that, that's why she's always saying people are toxic and all this stuff, but no one talks about how she's passive aggressive. She can never admit the truth. She always has to weasel her way out of things. That's why I don't like Grace Randolph. She seems like a person, in all honesty, she seems like a bold, a person who is a two-faced liar.
Yeah.
She will say one thing and she doesn't actually mean it. Like it's just insane. And that's why I'm like I don't know how people could be subscribed to her members, man. I don't understand how people do that shit. They will
It's
sit down and they'll pay her for the membership, and then yet they'll be in her chat disagreeing with her,
like
knowing that she's probably going to take the shit that you're saying in her chat and then try to spin it for everybody to be like,
there's a
look at it,
reason
all
why
these people going after me.
nobody. There's a reason why nobody in Hollywood likes her. Like nobody likes her. I know. The grass he told me in Hollywood, like nobody likes her. Like James Gunn doesn't like her. I know that's like others don't like her.
Nobody likes her.
Or
Like the only people who like her are these weirdos on fucking Twitter. I keep saying this.
yeah.
Twitter is full of fucking
And
weirdos.
I don't think she has sources in Hollywood either. I think she's a lie too. I mean, like,
I think she should just all the people who attach themselves to Grace Randolph. They think they're either doing it for like some
it's all the
virtuous reason too, like and they want to like yeah James Gunn and blah blah blah, and
it's all
it's always
it's
goes
all
back to
these
this every time
it's all
DC's being talked about.
it's all these men males that sim for her trying to be her white knight. You know?
I guarantee most of them are males.
Yeah, for sure.
If we took all the comments and we found out all their genders, it's gonna be
Yeah.
predominantly males.
It's just shy.
And the
It's just
people on
something.
Twitter, the small minority on Twitter, and this may be crazy to say, but I think those people who say that they're either a woman behind an account, I think it's a dude. Because we've seen
I'd be
this too
surprised.
many
Yeah.
times in this community where these dudes are pretending to be women, saying shit, pretending to be women. It's not and it's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
In this same comic book movie community, people have been caught doing shit like that.
Oh yeah, I
That's why I
remember
say get
that.
the fuck off of
Who
Twitter.
was that? Who was
Get
that?
the fuck off of
Who
Twitter.
was that person
Everybody on
catfishing
Twitter.
Snyder fans? Who was a bill the
Yeah,
whole
the
time?
catfish and the Snyder fan was a male the whole time, taking this girl. The girl doesn't even they asked her, they're like, do you even know what fucking Zack Snyder is? She's like, I don't even like superhero movies. Like
Oh,
I have no fucking clue what is going on. Like he just took some random girl, her pictures, put it up online, and he also edited some of the photos to make it look like, oh, he wrote something on a paper, and it's like, oh, here's my signature, right?
Oh,
Proof.
anybody could do
And
that.
then
I've
he's like
seen that
sitting there.
faked. I've seen that been done fake so many times, like 2 decades ago. That's not that does.
Only like this is what I'm saying. Like the people who've got time to do that are the people on Twitter. The
Yeah.
people on Twitter. I keep saying this. I will always fucking keep saying this. I'll say this on my platform. I'll rant about this constantly. That there are tons and tons of weirdos on Twitter who they don't have a job, they don't got nothing else going on in their life, they don't have family or friends, they don't even want to start a YouTube channel to actually voice their own opinions. They want to sit there on Twitter, argue with people on Twitter, and say a bunch of nonsense, and then sometimes they'll simp for people on there like Grace Randolph. Notice how Grace Randolph has a massive Twitter presence. Massive. She has tons of people on Twitter that follow her. Tons of people on Twitter talk about her
It's a
constantly.
problem with us men. It's not a it's not that's not a Grace problem. It's a men problem. Men just fall for women no matter what. Like we're weak in that sense. It's just it's
But
sad.
it's just so it's just like this whole like
Yeah,
community is just like pathetic, man.
yeah.
It's
But when you
pathetic.
see
The
blind,
constant arguing, the constant
when you have a
bullshit.
woman,
It's annoying as fuck.
I hope this is not sexist, but when you have a woman talking about that kind of stuff, pop culture stuff, men just fall in love with that, and they're blind, right? Like we're blind to
Man,
that.
it's
Like we're
like
not,
man,
we
like
two are not, we're
serious.
not, but like generally men are, right?
Like
Like
Grace would 100%, if she heard the stream, she would go and seek out all my accounts, even though I'm not even on Twitter. That's how much I'd probably piss her off, because she is one of the people who I have. z- First off, one, I only like talking about her now because she's so fucking stupid. It's like this person actually fucking exists, and it's like, in all honesty, I would really hope one day Grace Randolph just kind of disappears off this platform, because it's like the constant like antagonizing of franchise or fan bases is annoying. The constant like diminishing of certain movies because they're not box office successes is annoying. Like why does anybody take Grace Randolph serious when she hypes up movies that are widely panned by general audiences and are outright flops? I always
and
preface
why
this
does she
because
like movies
for
that are,
some reason people can't get this through their thick skulls.
and why does she
It
like,
may be your opinion, but that doesn't mean you're above fucking criticism, or
and why
that I
is,
can't critique your opinion. It's your opinion. That's it. I'm not going to change your mind. But you are Grace Randolph, who's supposed to be a movie reviewer, who's
yeah,
supposed to convince. You have a large platform. You almost have 1 million subs. You're trying to convince people to go see a movie. If if people saw that all of your movies that you've recommended are some of the worst movies, are people going to
Craven,
listen to you?
Craven.
Yeah, are people going to listen to you as a reviewer? Like, again, it's your opinion, but you're a reviewer. You're trying to recommend movies to people. So you're gonna
Critic
make
or
waste
critics are
people's money.
critics. The number one move of movie, a critic of anything, is not to recommend them to see playing a bad video game, watch a bad TV show, watch a bad movie. A critic doesn't. A critic would suggest
Yeah,
not to see.
that's why you're watching a review.
Yeah.
So it's like she could say it's her opinion, but you're a reviewer.
Mm-hmm.
People are coming there for your opinion.
Well, blind is on the roll, of course. I
Because
look.
I'm going fucking nuts. Because this is stupid. This shit is fucking annoying. Like it's just dumb. Like Grace Randolph and the constant bullshit that she says. It's like I again, we are technically giving it air. We always talk about it. We make fun of her, but it's like, man, this is literally like when I'm not on stream, I don't want to see jack shit, right, about what they're saying on Twitter involving her, because it's annoying. It's annoying. It's full of lies. It's full of just like, if we want to talk about DC, why aren't we talking about what should be in DC? What they should be doing instead? What James Gunn should add to improve the DC universe? No, it's always, I don't know if this is going to work out, and oh, James Gunn is has weird taste. Again, she never elaborates on that, by the way.
Nope.
Never says why does James Gunn have a problem with or has a taste problem. Why? She never explains it. She says Creature Commandos is problematic. Why? The show has characters who are
Is she
problematic.
planning to do a
It's not
review?
an endorsement of those
Is
characters.
she planning to do a review of Creature Commandos when it ends?
No, she gave her review. She said that she didn't even explain what was the problem.
Did we do a
If I
stream
was to
on it?
guess, yeah, we did.
Oh,
If I
I
was
was
to
doing.
guess,
Oh,
that was like weeks ago. That's almost been a month ago now.
oh, I thought that was just. Oh, I didn't. Okay, well, this is be
Yeah,
more.
my guess of why she doesn't like Creature Commandos is because one, the Bride and the Frankenstein. That's what I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, I know the stuff. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the obsession.
But the thing is, Eric Frankenstein may be. I mean, first off, it's an ensemble TV show, right? So he's not just the main character. There's multiple characters who take the spotlight and have the focus on them. But Eric Frankenstein is technically more of he's not a sympathetic character at all.
No, he said
The entire
no.
show so far has showed us that Eric Frankenstein is one, a complete narcissistic egomaniac character who's always self-centered, always thinking about his
Himself.
love for the
Yeah.
bride. He never stopped to consider her feelings and how she felt about him. And he, first off, when he did find true love, he was so disgusted by her because he said she was ugly and she was blind. And he told her outright, if I was blind, I would kill myself. The lady thought it was funny, but that was the truth because the guy is deep down, he's a ugly person. He's a terrible person. You're not really supposed to be sympathetic with that character at all. That's the whole point of the character. Like Grace, it's like characters need to always be good. Even the bad guys, they need to be sympathetic characters that we're all supposed to feel bad for.
No, no,
Not
no, no, no,
always.
no, 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 no. That's more. That's a Marvel thing, man. That's Marvel. What Marvel does that.
Like
You
if
know,
Tony, if we had Sopranos today being aired, Grace Randolph would probably say it's one of the worst shows
yeah.
because Tony Soprano is a piece of shit and I can't watch this show and blah blah blah. That's
You
the
know what?
whole entire point of the show.
I mean, Penguin. Be like, yeah, no, like,
Yeah, but notice how she was in her reviews of the Penguin. First off, she said, I don't think the Penguin is going to be super popular. I think it's going to be very niche. She said, this doesn't have the makings of a comic book show. It's not something I'm going to review week to week. She said all those things because she didn't like the show. And then when people were like praising the show when it ended, the show got good ratings.
I
Then it
mean,
was, oh yeah, the Penguin is successful. The Batman is successful. But when she was reviewing the Penguin, she said, "Does it even make sense to continue the Batman? Because the Batman only made $700 million. What the fuck?
um, 700 million is great. There's been movies that make much less than that get sequels.
Of course, the $700 million at the beginning of 2022 for a brand new Batman movie that no first off, one people were all skeptical about Robert Pattinson. Let's not pretend majority of the people were
Oh
saying
yeah. People,
we're
yeah.
acting like
I mean,
Robert Pat. I liked it, but that's because I saw Robert Pattinson in other movies that weren't Twilight.
you don't watch
Everybody's
Twilight. Yeah.
perception of Robert
No,
Pattinson in
nobody
terms of
from
mainstream
Twilight.
audiences was
Nobody from
Twilight.
Twilight. Don't base your opinions of actors and actors from Twilight. Watch some other stuff. I mean, Kristen Stewart has some good stuff lately, but Kristen Stewart's not. She's not the actor like where Robert Pattinson is, or like some of the others from that franchise. But
Right.
I agree with you. Like Twilight is not the best. Twilight is not the best franchise to base an actor and their ability.
No, but I mean, like, I don't think it's first off. One, most people that's where they knew Robert Pattinson. Like the
I knew
movies
it
that
from
he's made after were more independent movies.
I knew it from
like,
Harry Potter first, but yeah.
oh yeah, I
But-
forgot he's in Harry Potter.
but Twilight made him. Twilight
Yeah.
made him.
But yeah, so it's like I understand that, but it's like I don't know. It's just I've just noticed, and this is why it's like this Grace has been around for so long now. It's like I said, she liked Batman vs Superman. We should probably even go back and look at a review for Batman vs Superman because it's like she's been around for such a long time, and you could see how she is one of those critics who yeah, it may be her opinion. She's gonna say, you know, I like this movie, even if majority of people don't like it. That's fine. But you're a reviewer, and people are going to be like, listen, if you're recommending me dog shit all every week to go see dog shit, should I trust your opinion?
Uh-huh.
It may be
Exactly.
your opinion. It may be your opinion. You're totally allowed to have your opinion, but should I be listening to your
Yeah.
opinion? Should it be something that I take as a recommendation?
Yeah.
I feel like some people kind of forget that. It's like if we are YouTubers and you're saying stuff and you're supposed to be, again, people are coming here to watch your opinion and you're a trusted reviewer. Shouldn't you be on the ball and say, even though maybe I like Craven the Hunter, this is not something that is worth you paying money to see. No, instead Grace right now said, you should probably go out and see Craven the Hunter because it was surprisingly
Well,
comic
this
book
is why
accurate and
this is why
it's a pretty
blinded.
fun time.
This is why you don't take. This is why you don't take opinion of one person on a movie or anything like that. Go
Oh, I
go.
know.
Yeah.
But look at all the people in her chat who are like, oh yeah, I'll go see Craven the Hunter, and then maybe they will
Yeah.
just like it because she liked it. That's what I've noticed too. It's
Oh,
like
I like this
in
movie
the
because
comment section,
if you
you'll
like
see that, which
a
is
movie
fine, I
because
guess.
if you like a movie because Grace liked it, then you're that person's an idiot. Grace is
Yeah,
too
I don't
dumb.
know, man. I just had to go off because I was thinking I saw Batman vs
Here's the
Superman.
thing.
I was watching Batman vs Superman, and the entire time, me and my friend, um, because my other friend he left midway through the movie, he was just like, I can't watch this
Oh,
shit. But
I
uh,
just come
we
from.
were sitting there on his couch, and we're like just ranting about the movie. It's like this scene, this what was going on in this scene,
You have to drink
breaking
beer or
it
something when
apart
you're watching
scene
that
by
movie.
scene. It's like,
You have to drink some alcohol when you're
oh
watching it.
my god, the movie ended. We're just like, man, it's fucking almost 12 o'clock. I gotta go home. Like, it's
Um,
fucking nuts.
what was I gonna say? What was I gonna say? Like, yeah, man, I'm actually looking forward to her take in July on Superman. I really am.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, gonna be quite the show.
because I was doing when I was doing the Grace Randolph versus John Campy, I think there's a Lobo. Her per part was the Lobo, right? The Lobo stream with
Mhm.
the other two segments. I think she had like half an hour on Lobo, and I didn't even go the full 30 minutes. I'm like 20 minutes. I'm like, yeah, I can't enough of this. I mean, like, I can't stand her. I'm sorry. Like, this is the first time I
Mhm.
stop in the middle of a Grace video or stream. I'm like, yeah, I can't continue. I
Mhm.
can't continue. I can't. And like, I knew Campia was going to be the better one. Like Campia, like, yeah, you know what? The thing is, you may not like Campia, but Campia, you could at least still agree with them.
Yeah, you could still watch him. I mean, I don't
He,
think he's not as egregious as Grace Randolph.
no,
Grace Randolph is a person who, like I said, I think there's just some people on YouTube where it's like a lot of their fame has gone to their heads and they have their own personal issues and that gets mixed up in it because it's like Grace is such a bizarre person in all honesty, very bizarre. Um, yeah, man. I mean, it's just I mean, yeah, I mean, fuck, man. If I wasn't doing this YouTube stuff, yeah, I wouldn't be watching her at all.
why are
But
Bay fans allies with Snyder fans? Bay is better than what?
I have no clue. People just be saying this stupid
What?
shit.
All right, Blinded. It's been 2 hours. Thank you for coming on, man. Where we
Yeah.
can find you?
Blinded Braille YouTube.
Any
I'm
plans to stream?
tired.
Any plans to
Um,
stream?
not right now.
All right.
But yeah.
No stream Tuesday. No stream tomorrow. I mean, but Tuesday will be a stream. Wednesday will be a stream.
Mhm.
Thursday we're gonna do. I'm gonna try to do Creature Commandos episode 5, 6, and 7. Basically the end of the season.
Yeah, the
If
end
if
of the season.
if the episode does come up in time on the site, so not me.
Oh yeah.
um, but yeah, thank you guys. Make sure to like, share, subscribe down below. Hopefully there's no more news. Hopefully there's more news, and maybe based on my stream yesterday, I think we'll get the Daredevil trailer this month because I think they're waiting specific dates. Disney. That's why. big football dates. That's why blinded. That's why the rating 4. That's what I
Mm,
think. Yeah. All right, make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment below.